I just always got to double check.
Man, we got the album coming out in a couple weeks. What is it? January 27th? Is that right?
January 21st.
21st. Devil in the Lake, which is an outstanding album. Oh my God, it's awesome.
Cool, man.
Let's talk about that album for a little bit. Tell me a little bit about writing, recording, just putting that record together, and what you guys went through doing that.
Absolutely, yeah. We started. Actually, it's been a long time coming here with this album. We started a couple years ago, and we're just starting to throw stuff together. And man, it just started pouring out with writing. And Jeff Stiff's our guitar player. He's the main writer, our guitar, writing parts. And when him and Jesse, our singer, get together, man, they just start cranking out, every song one after the other. It's like, they just keep pushing out these killer tunes, and I get excited about it. And then we all come together and just perform it as a song, and we had some other tunes, but everything that's on the album, we're 100% behind that. We're really ecstatic about each and every song. It was a little difficult picking a single, but that's a good thing to have.
Man, you got Randy Cooper from Texas Hippie came in for the record. Man, how did that come about? That's awesome.
Cool, man. Yeah, Randy and I go way back. I also work with Dean Guitars. I do some stuff with them, video-wise, and on the media side with them. And I was actually, I think it was Rocklahoma. I forgot what year it was, but I was sent out there to go film some bands and work with, I think, like Triumph was doing a reunion and stuff like that, and there's a bunch of other cool bands out there. And I saw THC, Texas Hippie Coalition, were Dean artists, so I asked the guy that Dean, I'm like, hey man, should I grab this interview? They're like, yeah, and boom, that hit it off right there. Me and Randy seen each other every year. We go to the NAMM convention. We've seen each other every time they toured. We would see them in my previous band. We even played. Emperors played with them one time when he wasn't even in our band yet. And we just became buddies. And I remember last Super Bowl, I'm sitting there having a cocktail, watching the game. He calls me up. He's like, man, Jason, I'm sitting at an airport. I'm like 45 minutes from you, man. He goes, it's so easy to get to you. He goes, I only want to be in one person's band. I want to do whatever project you're working on. And he always kind of mentioned that after he left that band. I always thought he was screwing around with me, but I'm like, are you serious, dude? He's like, hell yeah, man. So it's like, okay, you're in. I basically said you're in. Then I go to the guys in the band. I'm like, Randy's our new guitar player, but he was welcome with open arms. And the album was pretty much written by then. But Jeff, our other guitar player, Jeff Stiffs, is he's an amazing guitar player, amazing writer. I've worked with him, almost my entire career of being a musician, and he's such a cool guy. He's like, Randy, come on in. He goes, why don't you put your taste on the album, put down your tracks, and he's like, these songs, why don't you take over on the solos on these? I mean, Jeff already had solos, but he goes, you know what, let's make this even. And so Randy was just welcomed, felt really comfortable. So literally it's like, hey, Randy, you're in the band. By the way, when you fly in, you're in the studio. We're doing a show this day. And, literally when he got off the airport, when the first day he got off the airport, he was off the airplane from the airport. Jesse, our singer, is just like, you know what, let's try him out. And he booked the show that day. I think we practiced a half hour and went there and did, just a little club, little bar, or whatever, and they invited us, But, it's like we put them to the test, and, we just, and it's been great ever since, We work really, really hard. Every guy in the band's really pushing, and that's why we got the record deal and everything, just because we really work for it.
Awesome. So how did the deal with Pavement come about, and why did you choose to go with Pavement?
We had a few other offers on the table, and they sounded really nice. Everything looks great, but you know what? Pavement, they didn't screw around. They said, here's the deal, and this is like how we're going to support you. And it was almost like a no-brainer, being able to be, you get to own your music and, at a certain time, and then, just the backing, they've done nothing but help us every step of the way. Anytime I got a question, I'll either shoot them a text or an email or something like that, and within 5 minutes, I have an answer and also reply like, hey, if you need to talk about, give me a call. So I'm like, there's no regrets whatsoever. It was a done deal when they asked us, if we'd be interested, and it's like, well, I wanted to say yes right then and there, but it's like, okay, I talked to the band. Let's work out, and yeah, boom, done. And very happy with it for sure.
That's rare with the label. I mean, sometimes I've heard stories about labels where you just can't even get a hold of anybody ever. The only time you hear from them is when you're negotiating a deal or when you're talking about a tour or something like that, and that's it.
Yeah, I've been emailing about the 28 emails today with our publicist so far. So, I mean, she had to come. It's kind of funny because she already had to sit there and tell me, okay, now this interview is whatever. I don't know whether we're in Eastern time or whatever. She's like, okay, you're in this time zone, so you got to call this. I'm like, thank you. That's one less thing I got to try to figure it out.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Now, the band formed in 2010, so it's been about 3.5, 4 years or so since the band formed and got together. Can you tell me a little bit about the history of the band, how you guys formed, and all that good stuff?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. We started, actually, Jeff's our guitar player. Him and I, we've been in previous bands, since our 20 years now, maybe, and we've always worked together, and we always get to a certain point, and somebody in the band, like a typical thing, doesn't want, it's like just trust me, stick it out, something's going to happen, and then somebody would flake, and we just get pissed off and whatever. But we always stuck together, and we're just, even though I play drums, but it's like, this is a guitar player that knows how to work with a drummer, and he's not out trying to do solos, and he could be out there doing the Steve Vai stuff and all that stuff, but he just, he does not brag, show off any of that. He just flavors the music where it needs to be, and he just writes those rhythms that we need, And so him and I have been together that long, and then it was kind of funny because, he's like, hey, let's start another band. I'm like, all right, man, let's really do it. And then we were at a club, I forgot which club it was, somewhere in Wisconsin, and there's a bass player playing. I'm like, dude, I think I remember this dude. And he was in another band at the time, so as soon as he got off stage, I'm like, hey, man, you want to come audition for our band? He's like, sure, so he kind of bounced between two bands for a while, and I'm like, he just ended up staying with us, so yeah, technically, I guess I stole him. And then I was at this, a few months later, I'm at this really crappy club, super crappy club, crappy PA, crappy lights, sound, everything. Crappy beer on tap, for Christ's sake. And I hear this voice going, singing, and I'm like, yeah, and the band was crap, but I'm like, I hear the singing, I'm like, that's pretty badass. I'm like, it'll suck next. I was in a bad mood that day, let's put it that way. So then I heard the next song, and I went up right in the front row, and I'm watching this kid sing, and I mean, he's just sitting there. You'd think it was like a, he kind of reminded me like a Kurt Cobain. Not that he looks like him, but he just had his head down, long hair, just covering his face, and very shy, beard, mustache, and all him. And then also, I just kept hearing him song after song. I'm like, this kid is hitting every freaking note in the book. So afterwards, I approached him. I'm just like, hey, dude, are you interested in possibly doing another project or something? He's like, yeah, man. And he knew who I was. I guess I knew him, and I might have had a couple drinks from that one night, and I don't know. I think I said some stupid shit to him, but regardless, so I'm like, dude, I want you to audition, and I just happened to have some like extra tickets. I think it was an Incubus concert. I had some friends from the radio station that were giving them away, and I had some, and I wasn't going to go. I'm like, here, you want these? He's like, dude, that's one of my favorite bands. So he always goes, Jason wooed me into the band. But yeah, he came out, so we stole him. And then like the story of telling you about how we got Randy, previously. So yeah, and then that's when we all came together. Now Randy hasn't, like you said, hasn't been always in the band. We had a former guitar player that he went to a different direction, and which was all cool. So we stayed a 4-piece for a little while, and then once we got Randy, it's like, okay, let's just keep going.
Nice. So to me, when I listen to the record, it sounds to me like Alice in Chains meets Chevelle or early Shinedown, like the first record, something like that. How did you really develop and, you know, evolve the sound that we're hearing when we listen to Devil in the Lake?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned those bands, because those three bands right there are some of Jesse, our singer's favorite bands, you know, in the world. As you hit two of the three, and then, you know, Chevelle is one of his favorites too, but it's definitely on a top 10 list, I know that. But yeah, Shinedown, Alice in Chains, we've always got, and that's the thing, is when he was growing up, that's what he listened to, you know. He grew up listening to, you know, all the grunge stuff, because that was his era, you know, and, you know, I wish he could be doing this interview, because he states it really well, you know, about, like, you know, how all those bands that he listens to, they're still around. Pearl Jam just put out a new album, you know, and they're destroying, you know. Soundgarden's still around. Yeah. Alice in Chains is still killing it, you know. And then you take the music in, which is kind of, you know, the guitars are a little bit different than some of those bands you mentioned, but we also added, you know, a little bit of sequencing in. You know, it's nothing that we're, you know, afraid to say, oh, you know, we have other sampled tracks in there, but it's just, you know, it might be some ambient sounds or a keyboard or something like that we used live, you know, and whatever you hear on the CD, that's what we're also using live too, because I play drums and I'll play with a click track, have a sequencer behind us, so it just kind of gelled out like that. Like Ron, our bass player, his favorite band is Rammstein, you know, so it's like you got a whole different kind of, you know, all these different genres of music, and we came together, and that's basically what you got out of Devil in the Lake, for sure.
Nice. Now, Your Will started doing really well not too long ago. Would you say that, if you could pick a song off of the record that really kind of, because I know that with first records, some of the songs some bands, the songs have been, you know, they've had those songs for a while. If you could pick one song that really sums up what this record is and what you guys are about, what would it be?
Dude, that is the toughest question right there, because when it came down to, you know, to figuring out the single, you know, I went to the label, and, you know, I gave them, you know, they're like, what songs do you think are the strongest? And I gave them a couple, and they pointed out one, like, okay, but then they went back and listened to it. I'm like, man, we really like this one. You know, it wasn't, like I said, it's not a bad thing to have, but for us, like, when all five of us get together, I mean, our single is Who You Are. I mean, I guess that sums it up, where it's the most straightforward. You know, it's we think that'll probably do the best on the radio to kind of, you know, explain who we are. But Your Will, yeah, dude, you know what? That, I think, if the label said, let's do that as a single, we would have been like, yes. I mean, that's definitely going to be, you know, if we do get, you know, to pull off another single on this album, I think it's going to either be Man of God or Your Will. Those are two. Cool.
Yeah, I was just thinking Man of God. I'm not sure why, but I was just thinking that same thing. That would be a great second single. I mean,
I'm thinking that is too, because we actually I already developed a lyric video for that, and that's what Pavement's, you know, behind too, so that will probably be the one.
Nice. So after you release the debut, when you're getting ready, you know, in the beginning, you know, you're writing, you're recording, and then you're trying to get the record deal, then you're trying to get the album out. After you get the album out, the work doesn't end at all. In fact, it's just starting in a lot of ways. How much work do you guys have, really, that you guys are, you know, how much do you put into promoting the debut, and what are you really looking forward to now? Maybe a big tour, or what are we looking at?
Well, right now, you know, it's all in just advertising. Yeah, absolutely, tour. I mean, this week alone, you know, since we started, you know, it's getting closer to the release drop, I've been putting in, you know, probably 9 or 10 hours a day, just whatever it is, getting, you know, because luckily I get to work from home. I own my own business and stuff, so I'm the one that's able to do this and call during the day for an interview and whatnot. But everybody is definitely doing their part. We've just started working with a booking agency that we're looking to actually should hopefully find out, you know, this week or end of you know, or sometime next week, kind of a basic tour schedule. We wanted to hit, like, you know, in February start touring. But it's like, you know what? Let's let the album kind of get out there, and and let the radios, get the single going. So we decided we're going to head out probably at the beginning of March, and I think that's where. I think we're either starting here or Michigan, and then we're going to work our way down to Texas, because that's where we've been getting a lot of people wanting us to hit there, and we're just kind of hitting all the veins where we've been noticing people are asking about us and whatnot. And then Texas is Randy's, his backyard there. So we're going to see what they do in Oklahoma, stuff like that. So hopefully we'll have some dates very soon. But it's a definite go. We're going to take this and push it. Yeah.
Nice. Plus, if you wait till later later till spring, this ungodly cold weather will be gone too. I know you're in Illinois. So,
yeah.
And I'm from Iowa, living in Indianapolis, and so.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I would definitely wait. You don't want to freeze anything. So.
Absolutely, yeah. I have no problem waiting. Let that single get out there and cook it up, and then let it get warm up a little bit. I'm down with that. We got plenty of time here.
Exactly, man. Thank you so much for taking time today. It's been awesome, man. Great record.
Right on.
Great record. The new album, Devil in the Lake. Go pick it up as soon as it releases, January 21st. Man, thanks a lot. Good luck on everything.
Right on, brother, man. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you later.
All right, take it easy. All right.
Oh.